Good evening from the Philippines. Yeah, I have a feeling that I think I have to tweet this link now. So yes, it's me, Jing, and I'm already starting on my live stream. I'm here with the podcast season 2 episode 1 guest, Jodini. Hello, good evening to you.
Hi, and a good morning over here in America. And if
Yeah,
I
and I finally found the link, so I would just tag Jodini here, and then everyone may finally join in. So there you go. So everyone may finally join, and I would be sending this link as well to invite the other ones who are in the group chats. Okay, Halloween. Oh, great! Halloween live stream featuring Jeff. You know, I can't say that word. Although some people would find the thumbnail a little weird. That's it sounds like a code, but anyway, I'm here with Jodina right now, and it's good that he has available time to accompany us on our Halloween episode because I mentioned in the group chat or in the group chat in the live chat of one of his live streams that I would be reading one of the creepypastas that became infamous online for different reasons. So you're familiar with this? You've already discussed this in your live stream. Was it worse than the room? By the way.
oh man, uh, from what it sounded like, we definitely had fun reading it, and at the
Oh,
same time, it's it's not like the room because J- this Jeff story has a mixed reaction. People love it, people don't like it. It's not like the room where everybody knows it's terrible, but it's enjoyable. This one is still up in the air.
yeah, because for me, I got familiarized with it when I saw the internet historian's take on on the Jeff story, and there was a cameo by Frederick Knudsen. I think he played the role of Jeff's brother. Then, internet historian was the one voicing Jeff. It turned out to be hilarious since it showed Frederick Knudsen's funny side.
Mm. Yeah, you have to put a little bit of comedy into this in order to get through it.
Yeah, and since I've been reading some Reddit stories, I get some just a little practice when it comes to voice acting. Weird. I still don't consider myself yet as a voice actor, but maybe once I got the hang of reading more Reddit stories, perhaps the safer ones, yeah, then perhaps I would finally get my jive, as they say.
Yeah, because it takes a little bit of practice. The greats always needed to practice before they ever got better at anything.
Yeah,
Sometimes people just have natural talent, but even then natural talent needs to be brought up a little bit, needs a little bit of seasoning.
mm, yeah, it's true. So, still, still waiting for some people to come over. Sometimes, some of my viewers get intimidated whenever it's in English, but eventually, some of them get the hang of it and then see. Oh, okay. So you have an English-speaking guest. Maybe I end up speaking less, which I discourage them from doing that because eventually, um, especially the ones that have been encouraging to try freelancing online, you know, whenever they have into an interview, as long as the person interviewing them understands them, then that would be good. Okay, I have several. How many smartphones are we?
You
Oh
got a
god.
lot of smartphones.
Yeah, because some of them are extras, or some of them are. I've seen better days actually. And one of the smartphones here used to be uh, from my dad. Well, my dad passed away 2 years ago, so I ended up using it. And as for the other smartphones, well, where the hell are they? Anyway, yeah, I've been having a problem with some since
I was gonna say it.
some some phased out models. Whenever they're the phased out models, they're already having problems. Um, oh, hello, one viewer. They're already having problems getting updated, even if it's Android. I never had an iPhone, so I'm not familiar with the iOS updates happening there. So yeah, both of them are made in China, and I think there's nothing we can do about it now. Thank you to viewers, 2 million viewers, as they say. So, hello, Miss Elena Liwanag. Thank you very much for coming over. Yes. So, okay, so we are now ready with this story. I don't want to shock them with the image of the, the character here because, yeah, at least the photo or the avatar used for this story worked in being scary. The story itself, not so much. I and before I chose this story, I had to choose between Empress Teresa, My Immortal, and the Jeff story. And then I realized that the Jeff story is a short story, so we can stretch it out in this live stream. There you go. Let's let's do this.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's the image.
I still
Oh
can't
god.
get enough of that.
Yeah, because it's one of those. Mm, is it too much to say it's iconic?
Um, in some instances, you could say it's iconic, and
Mm,
especially if you're a fan of creepy pastas in general.
mm,
But I, it's not really well known in like the mainstream universe. Like a lot of normies wouldn't even know. I mean, they know Slender Man, but they don't know Jeff the Killer as well as Slender Man, and that's because it was made into a movie, and Jeff the Killer has not been touched.
yeah. Not many people know this. Maybe because the sad reality is that some fan fictions become famous because they are infamous. Like, oh god, it's so bad, it's so good. You might as well be reading something else. But on the other hand, the quality stories are the ones that end up in books that you actually have to buy. And I don't always get to buy those. And by the way, that's the same photo I used to prank some some viewers on one of the cover songs I made last night, more like last midnight.
Hey, you were pranking people with it?
I only tried, but I don't think they ended that video that I made with. It's like an Easter egg that I made.
Ah, okay.
It's
I
like
was
if
gonna
you
say,
watch this and then you didn't like this and then it scared the crap out of you, yeah, just share this video. There you go. And by the way, I've been choosing some songs to cover in the future. Hopefully, even if I get a content ID for these, I'd be fine with them. Anyway, back to the story. Oh, there's a quote. Go to sleep.
yeah, that's his catchphrase.
That's his catch. Go sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Nah. Okay. Jeff, born Jeffrey Woods, is the titular main protagonist, turned to the main antagonist of 2011. Oh, okay. So it was revamped. Hey, it's too early to revamp. I thought revamps work every 10 years.
Now, there's no really a timetable. People just revamp whenever they want.
Mm, maybe because it's a crash grab after all.
Well,
Oh well.
not even that. I think some people are just trying to get their jollies off of it.
Oh yeah, that too. And it worked to some point anyway. So here he is. He's an adolescent serial murderer and registered creepypasta. He was disfigured after being set on fire while fighting a gang of bullies and lost his sanity while after witnessing his new and beautiful face. So, yeah, this is a pretty interesting clip. So there was an origin story even. Jeff was a 13-year-old who moved to a new neighborhood with his brother Lou. That's a Chinese name. And their parents. On their first day of school, they were accosted by three bullies named Randy, Keith, and Troy, who Jeff brutally beat up after they threatened him with knives. I wonder where's the actual story. I like the fan art, by the way. And then there's Slender Man. I think I saw Slender Man online. Yeah, back to the story. I ended up with the one with several spoilers. Let's see the story itself. And
Oh, yes, there's the original and then there's the rebooted version that came out.
yep, looks like I lost the actual story. But anyway, let's move on with this version that we have. So, when Jeff woke up, he was at the hospital and his head was wrapped in bandages, which is which is why the internet historian's version is pretty faithful. When the bandages were taken off, it was revealed that his face had become disfigured and ghastly pale from burns, with bright red lips and a leathery texture. Jeff said that he liked his this way and laughed hysterically, but the doctor foolishly thought that this insanity was merely a side effect of painkillers. I don't remember that as a side effect of painkillers. Not that I've been into too many painkillers myself. Anyway, so painkillers and let Jeff go home. You realize the problem with that angle. Later that night, Jeff's mother finds him carving his face into a permanent smile so that he would no longer have to exert energy to smile, as he put it, and burning off his eyelid so he can always see his face. Jeff's mother went to her husband to tell him that their son had gone completely mad and that, wait, what? Needed to.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Here's what happens whenever I walk blind into a story. Anyway, but Jeff caught them and stabbed them to death. This woke up Lou, who was recently released, with Jeff telling him as he was about to plunge the knife, "Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep." Jeff then goes on on a rampage, killing those who refuse to sleep at night, and the story continues. It sounds like one of those childhood stories that if you did not sleep at night, Jeff will go to you. Seems like it, no?
It sounds like the Sandman, but creepier.
Mm, yeah.
Anybody knows the Sandman stories?
Not so familiar with the Sandman stories. I'm more familiar with Neil Gaiman.
Sandman, the Sandman story, at least in American terms, is a creature that comes into the middle of the night and basically helps children go to sleep by putting sand in their eyes.
Oh, okay. So that's why that's the name. I
Yes.
the last time I read about Sandman was about when they were trying to turn it into a movie, and I think it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt that was proposing to turn it into a movie, or he was planning to direct it. I didn't know what happened to that angle afterward.
Yeah, because he hasn't directed a movie since Don John, which was basically a Jersey Shore type movie, and
Mm,
it didn't do as well as people thought it did. So I don't think he's ever made a major movie since 2012, which was about 8 years ago.
you mean his last movie is not major? I don't know
Well,
if I can see the title of that last. Snowden, right?
well, Snowden wasn't directed by him. That was the guy that did JFK back in '91. He did the 9/11 movie in '06.
Mm,
Can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, he's well known for doing he was well known for doing like very political movies and conspiracy theorist type stuff.
that's understandable. Is it the same guy who directed Big Fish? No, not Big Fish.
No,
Big
that's
Adam someone. Yeah, I forgot his name. The one that the same guy who directed Shinee or Vice, the dictionary biopic.
I don't remember actually.
Hmm. Yeah, because there's this movie. Anyway, we can talk to that later. Going back to the story, relation to Jane the killer. Okay. In one story, Jeff, an older, murders the parents of, causing Jane to become an immediate enemy. And then she's sworn to hunt Jeff and murder him for doing the same to her parents. Like, okay. So it's this is like a fanfic for fans of slasher movies, are they?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And I forgot to put some. Oh, mega shout out to you, Daryl Migrino. Yes, the crew that I hang around it with lately. They came over to watch, and also because I posted a photo of Jeff on the group chat. Hey, watch me! I will not put you to sleep. Yeah, they're still amazed that I speak English well, but anyway, I have a confused accent. Maybe they already knew that. And what the frick? Oh, okay. So here, in another fan adaptation, seriously, like I should rewrite this story soon. Anyway, we're in Jane the Killer, the real story. Jeff murders Jane Arkansas's family, entire family, friends, and as well as his own family. He lights her on fire by using bleach and gasoline, leaving her scarred and disfigured, thus the beginning of their rivalry. So this is a battle between the disfigured killers, is it?
Yeah, it's like Freddy versus Jason, except creepypasta style.
Yeah. Like, I, 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 I didn't like that movie that much. I don't know.
Not many people did.
Yeah, because a major criticism about Hollywood horror movies. It's a lot different from Asian horror movies. In Asian horror movies, they're economical because the less you show the ghost or the less that you show the monster, the scarier it ends up being perceived. As opposed to Hollywood, wherein there's always this fascination. They're always excited to show the monster, which is why there's some Hollywood remakes that I don't feel like watching, like One Missed Call and other Hollywood remakes of Asian horror movies that I don't feel like watching because the concept is lost in trying to create jump scares. Anyway, just just a side comment there. Not sure if
Yeah.
you agree.
Well, that's one of the reasons I don't like horror movies is because they just are too ridiculous.
Yeah, it's cheesy too.
Yes, it is.
Just say goodnight to one of my to one of the guys that helped me with my channel. He's about to end his live stream too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's around this time that a lot of folks here in the Philippines are live streaming too. So back to the story. By the way, I like the artwork. it's really interesting, and it looked better than the actual photo. So, relation to okay, despite numerous stories, videos, and artwork, neither Jane Richardson or Jane Arkansas do not have canonical connection to Jeff the Killer and are merely only spin-off pastas. Oh God, I suddenly remembered again what Chris Chan said. I hate that word, canon. Like, sorry, that's a bad impression of Chris Chan, but yeah, I tried.
As
he
long
hates
as you tried.
he hates canon because it ruins his comics. He doesn't have to worry about that.
No, he
Anyway,
doesn't.
mm, so relation to Slender Man, there are many different ways in which fan content portrays Jeff and Slender Man in relation to each other. Most fan works depict Slender Man as mortal enemies on par with Jeff, showing off one another's skills. Depictions of Jeff typically show him going into combat with Slender Man using his knives, while Slender Man is typically shown using his tentacles. At least
Okay.
Slender Man has an Asian element to it. Reminds me of that mythical creature in Korea, the nine-tailed fox.
Yes.
Although in this case, it's a Slender Man. So here, there are even some various fan work that depict Jeff as one of Slenderman's proxies, often painting Jeff's image as some kind of super proxy that was discovered by Slenderman shortly after murdering his family and escaping to the forest. However, many fans do not exactly approve of this particular fan work because they tend to argue and state that Jeff would be too insane to be controlled by Slenderman. And it's easy to see the point there. Some some notorious individuals would rather not be controlled because they will not become notorious individuals if they are not control freaks. Like, it's about control less about what's there to gain, which is why don't they start with torture and then they end up with taking the life out of their subject, just based on some of the stories that I've read so far. So, while all of these concepts are non canon to both Jeff and to the Slender Man mythos, it is nevertheless an immensely popular combination in the two of the numerous fan art. Yeah, there's a lot of fan art going on there. So, there's fan art that as long as they are consistent with this image created, then yeah, it would be great. So, the Saussure, what the hell is this? The Saussure version of Jeff. On October 3rd, 2008, a YouTuber named Saussure uploaded a video called Jeff, Original Story. This video came out before the famous creepypasta was even written. In the original video, the song I Guess You're Right by the Posies, not familiar with that song, can be heard playing in the background. Saussure claims he's one who created Jeff and that every internet story about Jeff is fake, including the famous creepypasta story. Okay. He claims that Jeff never had an accident with bullies or bleach. Instead, he claims that Jeff was hauling a gallon of acid into his bathroom to clean out his bathtub, but slipped on a bar of soap, and the acid splashed all over his face. It's still just as gory, and was taken to a hospital due to the neighbors hearing his cries. And apparently, in Sasur's original version, Jeff never murdered Lou or his parents, and his canon last name is Hodek, not Woods. So notice how there's no link here. So it seems like a dead YouTube channel.
It is. It's not around anymore.
Okay. YouTube has been killing a lot of channels lately.
Well, I think he actually took it down himself.
Oh, okay. Why?
Probably because he was just done with YouTube in general.
Mm, that's an early phase to be done with YouTube. Anyway, so what is the controversial image that was done here? Oh, it has some characters that I can't read. Cool. Anyway, Not many people know the true origin of where the original. It reminds me of My Immortal, where no one is claiming it, so it's basically Creative Commons, right?
No, there's somebody that did claim my immortal, and then when they went to this whole thing, it's like, are you sure you wrote this? Someone's tried to make money off of it, and I don't
Uh,
think they were successful.
yeah, it's like good luck with that. Anyway, so in this case, Jeff the Killer, there are several claimants as well. Okay. So, not many people know the true origin of where the original Jeff came from, or Jeff image. Many people believe it was a Photoshop picture of a woman named Katie Robinson, who allegedly, no, due to excessive cyberbullying after visiting 4chan's slash b slash board around the year 2008. I should be rewatching your 4chan episode just to see if there's anything we missed, and it was believed for several years that the picture of the girl was apparently the now famous Jeff image. However, this claim is entirely false and has been debunked numerous times, and there are no records of it actually happening. Around the 2015, during an interview with YouTube user Scare Theater, the original creator, Saussure claims that the Katie Robinson is story is a suicide or is a bogus story, and confirms that the image is actually a picture of himself wearing a white latex mask. However, that was even more strange that this is also false, even though he did write the original story, because nobody believes anyone can wear a latex mask. Seriously, you
Like
want
that's
to
a
die, or at least you want to suffocate? Yeah, wear a latex mask.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Like humans can't wear latex masks.
There's latex that cannot be worn, and then there's latex that uh, whenever it gets too close to with the nose, then it simply suppresses your breath. It makes me think that some of the, I don't know, I suspected one of the masks that I wore before was made of latex, and it suffocated me somewhat. Anyway, latex. Okay, the Jeff image has been seen in places which date to 2005. It has been seen in a Japanese video published on YouTube. Oh, okay, so those are. If it's a Japanese video, how come it has some Chinese characters? That's really confusing. And also, it's a dead link, no link at all, which is apparently for a horror film project called Victims of Tomorrow or something to this effect, wherein a series of names and ages are listed. After Jeff's face appears for a split second, there is text that says "Good night," which might be a precursor to "Go to sleep." And by the way, the term "Go to sleep" is more famous in Japan because it's the official finisher of Mitsuharu Misawa, the
Hmm.
poor wrestler who died in the ring.
Yes, it was also famous in America by a wrestler named CM Punk.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why when the day after Misawa died, it's like finally CM Punk gave credit where credit is due. Anyway,
Yeah.
oh wait, yeah, there was GTS by Misawa, and then there's GTS by Kenta. So yeah,
Yes, Kenta too.
yeah, Kenta. So okay. And the earliest confirmed sighting of the respective image was on November 16, 2005, on a Japanese message board named pia.cc, along with another image that Susur also posted, where he claimed that the alternate version was his original design concept. Susur's earliest known internet presence was August 14, where he made a Newgrounds account called, where he acted as if he was Jeff. The original Jeff video was uploaded on November 3, which is why the internet historian's version is coming across as parody, which is fine. Doesn't I don't. I don't see a problem there. And the three images of Jeff. Oh, okay, I lost my way. The okay, the origins of the image for certain and the subject it portrays are still unknown, as well as how it connects to Japan's internet culture. The most likely story is ironically one that is unverifiable. In this version of the story, posted by a few slash b slash users, the photograph is of a woman whose identity is currently unknown, although it is speculated that her name is Victoria. She streamed on the now defunct website Stickam in 2005 and used slash b slash as a means of promoting herself after the Something Awful forum started to become obsolete. One user took a screenshot of her face and posted it, acting as if they were her with the caption, "Am I pretty?" In a successive series of photoshops by different users, one said in response, "Now you are." After finding out about the series of events, the woman stopped streaming and vanished. I think that line is familiar, although it's from a Japanese movie. Are you familiar with the Slit Mouth Woman? That's the international title.
Um, I don't know the international title names, so don't quote me on that.
Okay. I'll just write it on the chat board.
Yeah.
That's the Japanese title, and that's the English title. But too bad the guy who actually knows how to speak Nihongo is hasn't arrived on the chat box yet. Anyway, so a
Yeah,
little
I don't know it.
yeah, because I have seen the trailer for that movie, and then it was based on the Japanese urban legend about a woman who's wearing a mask. Ironically, in a pandemic season, you will not be suspicious of a woman wearing a mask, like the surgical mask. So, and then she's wearing a trench coat, and then she would approach a young girl, preferably a student, and then she would start asking the student, "Am I pretty?" And then, of course, out of politeness, the student will say, "Yes, you're pretty." And then she removes her mask and, "Now, am I pretty?" And then that's why it's called slit mouth woman, because like, this is the samurai. Yeah, how do you slip her out so it becomes a permanent smile? So that's why it's slit mouth woman. So of course, out of politeness, the girl will again say, "Yes, you are pretty." And then the woman would bring out her scissors, and she'd cut the sides of the poor girl's mouth, and then say, "Now we are both pretty." It's one of those stories told to young children so they will not walk around at night and end up encountering her. So it's one of those horror stories that some say it's the inspiration behind the Heath Ledger Joker, because Heath Ledger Joker has wounds here, right, on this on the sides of his mouth, like, "Let's put a smile on that face," like, and then they would start. Then that would be the version we all know now as the Joker. Although Joaquin Phoenix version is different. It's the Heath Ledger Joker that is said to have Japanese origins. So that's why I told that story, because I thought you're familiar with that. But you're familiar with the Heath Ledger Joker, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tough act to follow. So
Well,
going on with the story, yeah, you're about to say something.
I was gonna say the Joaquin Phoenix one actually surpassed the Heath Ledger Joker. Like
Mm,
everyone
I,
talks about that movie now.
yeah, because I haven't seen it. I don't think it's on Netflix, and it sucks that I haven't seen that yet. To think that a lot of people ended up liking it. It's a story based on the story, it's not for everyone, but hopefully I get to watch it soon so I can see for myself how Joaquin Phoenix surpassed Heath Ledger. Okay, and of course the appearance. Jeff was extremely pale skin and burned off eyelids, giving him an even more ghostly appearance. Jeff later got his most distinctive trait, the Glasgow smile that he had carved into his face. His build is commonly described as thin, but with some lean muscle tone at the same time. Reaching a height of around 5'10", he's pretty tall by Asian standards, to 6 feet. In various fan depictions, he's typically portrayed in his late teens or early 20s. His clothing normally consists of a pair of black dress pants with a white hoodie, like described in the story, which is sometimes stained with fresh and okay, stained with the fresh and old blood from his victims. So basically, one of those boogeymen used in children's stories. And
Inter-
personality. Before being burned alive, he was quite and fairly antisocial teenager, and not that people actually knew him very well. But shortly after the incident, he became torturous, aggressive, bloodthirsty, and violent, making him one of the most dangerous serials in his hometown. Jeff is widely known for luring his victims to an eternal slumber, using a kitchen knife and his soft, eerie tone of voice. And since I did not see the original video yet, I don't know how eerie is that. So he's even an extremely stealthy and mischievous individual, able to break into victims' houses, and almost always without getting himself caught in the act. I think I've been watching too many episodes from Investigative Discovery to be familiar with these. You watch them too?
are you talking about like those CSI type shows?
Yeah.
Oh God, I watch those every night.
Yeah, it's nice. It's been a while since I watched Snap, and yeah, so it reminds me of a biography from Snap or from Deadly Women. Um, those kinds of biographies, relatively quiet, fairly antisocial, and then able to break into victims' houses. That kind of biographies. Like sometimes you simply need to read some crime cases to get some inspiration for your next slasher fan fiction. Okay. Oh well.
I was gonna say it's like really tough to do slasher movies now because with the way that forensic science is, you basically just can leave your identification next to the dead body because at that point you'll just say, "Oh, well, I'm already doing it because the medical science, the forensic science is already going to tell me who did it." It's just going to take a longer process. You might as well just come out and say you did it now.
Yeah, basically, because otherwise, well, what good is there if you're not going to analyze most of these cases? It's and finally I found the link. Oh, great. Mm-hmm. Wow. There you go. Okay, I found the link. We can shift into a different link later after we're done with the wiki page. Here we go. So, powers and abilities. Yeah, they really packaged him as some super villain when some of his skills I'm familiar with. Shows like Snap or I don't know, maybe Ed Gein. Inspiration behind Leatherface.
Oh no.
No, 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 no. I'm surprised I haven't thought about. Oh wait, no, never mind. No, I almost said that there should be a crossover between Jeff and Jeffrey Dahmer. No, never
Oh
mind.
no,
No, no, no, no, no, no, no, no. Forget that.
you're gonna get a lot of fangirls with that, but not for the right
Oh,
reasons.
yeah, that's the thing. And wait, not for the right reasons because mm, Jeffrey Dahmer is not into girls. Let's put it at that, okay? He's not into girls.
Yeah, and there was some women disappointed when they found out. It's like, oh, he's so attractive. Like, what?
What? Come on. Hmm. I don't understand this fetish at all. I understand how some girls are attracted to bad boys because sometimes it's the bad boys who have the um what they call this. They have the swag. As much as I hate the word swag, I apply it uh, very selectively to a few people. People, not men. Anyway, so and by the way, um, I haven't seen the Ted Bundy series on Netflix. I might end up watching the Chris Watts instead. There's still a lot on Netflix I haven't seen, and don't recommend to me that movie Cuties. We don't have it here on our Netflix. We have finally. I found time to dig Netflix a while ago. We have JoJo Bizarre Adventure. Finally,
Oh,
I just
there you
don't know.
go.
Yeah, I just don't know when I could start with that because they've been aggressively promoting JoJo and Demon Slayer. Just an observation that I had. Maybe because it's Halloween season, they'd be everyone would love those stories in this kind of season. So here, okay. Oh, finally, the links I've been looking for are here. Cesar. Oh, he's on Deviant Art now. Last time we talked about Deviant Art, we were talking about Shadman, mm, our most viewed episode so far. He had more views than the Onision series on Legends of the Internet. So yeah, Legends of the Internet. That's the channel of Joe Dini here. Be you'd love to see some of the clips there. Okay, and then a reboot of Jeff the Killer by Kay Banning Kellum is available for this on this YouTube channel that I will not click for the meantime because I'm a little paranoid lately when it comes to copyright um, CPR. I forgot what that means now. Okay, and then oh, Jeff has been criticized as one of the worst creepypastas of all time, despite his huge following and his major icon of creepypastas and internet horror. I can hear you laugh. I can't blame you. Ah, and okay. He's very notorious for having multiple adaptations, fan fictions, and most infamously copycats, being a vulnerable target for other characters to make it into the spotlight. Uh, Joe, has Blumhouse Productions ever got interested in this character?
Blown House.
No, Blumhouse. The
Okay, yeah, Blumhouse. I know the name of the production company.
yeah.
I don't know if I've heard that they were trying to do something involving Jeff the Killer, but it wasn't meant to be
Mm-hmm.
in the
Yeah,
very end.
yeah, because I've been watching some videos from the YouTube channel Double Toasted. They also have a podcast, and they mentioned that Blumhouse is one of those quality. They could have been a quality horror movie company if they're not stingy when it comes to budget, but they have not unlocked the Asian way of creating horror movies yet. So, yeah, they ended up spending more on blood.
On Blood?
Some wait, they have slasher movies. Yeah, they have some pretty slasher movies too. Their last one, the Happy Death Day to Me. That's the. I'm sorry. That's the actual title of their last greatest hit. It's not Happy Death Day because it's like Grindhouse. The story is like Grindhouse, Groundhog Day. There you go. Finally, I got it right.
Oh man,
It's the
that's
title
such,
Groundhog Day. Yeah, you're familiar with Groundhog Day, right?
it's a very iconic movie over here, at least for Generation Xers.
Yeah, because if you turn Groundhog Day into a slasher movie, that's the plot of Happy Death Day. And like, wow, so what happens is every time she dies, she wakes up the next day repeating everything again. It's like, how many times does this person have to die before she realizes who's actually out to get her? Like, that's and it's it starts to look like a video game after that because yeah, you die several times in a video game and then you finally finish the game. So it's one of those production companies. I just mentioned Happy Death Day because of Blumhouse Productions. It's a slasher movie. Imagine having a slasher movie theme for Groundhog Day, and that's the movie that you get. So yeah, you might try to watch it one time and watch it with your friends. You'd love it.
And again, my friends aren't horror movie fans, except for one of them. But they don't usually go to movies to watch horror movies. They go to movie theaters to watch bad movies, which I'm
Oh,
not a
okay.
part of.
Yeah, it happens because you want to laugh together.
Hmm.
Okay, so here, to go back to our list, he is 13 years old in the original story. It is unknown how old he is now. So, also it's unknown if he is older or younger than Liu. And here's why I find the name funny because in the story, since it's a parody after all, in the Internet Historian version, Liu was played by Frederick Knudsen. So yeah, imagine a white guy with a Chinese name.
Yeah, you want to talk about you want to talk about the fact that you still have whitewashing when it comes to narrations for
Yeah.
ethnic characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is why I don't want a Hollywood remake of Demon Slayer. At least not for now. Let's see where this goes. Anyway, so there's another comic where Jeff is a featured character. It's entitled "I Eat Pasta for Breakfast." And what the hell?
Which is almost every Italian in the world.
Yeah, yeah. What the frick? And Jeff is often referenced as a Joker ripoff. They really have not seen the Japanese movie. Anyway, mostly resembling Heath Ledger's Joker from 2008 superhero film The Dark Knight. Yeah, which is why I mentioned a while ago about the woman, because there that that is an urban legend that has evolved into several fan fictions in Japan as well. Because some say that the oldest version is one who is a samurai's wife, who is paranoid about the wife being so pretty, so the samurai made her ugly, hence the slits on each side of the mouth. I
Mm.
apologize that if I've mentioned that story way too many times. I just appreciate that Japanese horror knows how to scare its audience. So Jeff has zero connection to anything outside of his own singular story, and any other creepypastas that feature Jeff are merely works of fan fiction. Mm, just change the name and then add the killer to the title. Like, because he's a copyrighted character belonging to Cesur, Cesur, who used Jeff in only one singular story in any products that are released without the permission of Cesur, or non-canon. I keep saying that name wrong. I haven't seen it yet. Well, that's a lot of videos. And this is the one where they call him a ripoff, and then I don't feel like playing that. I might do it some time else. It's already 9:50 p.m. here. I'm not sure I'm interested in delving more for the scary stuff. But anyway, since I like torturing myself, let's go with the one from Creepypasta website. Like, finally, after several tries, I've finally found the story so we can narrate it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, finally. So, no copyright infringement intended. If ever this video is demonetized, or at least if, well, the money would end up with Sasur. Ow. So, this is posted like an article, a newspaper article. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the attacks and bravely tells his story. I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night, says the boy. I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair in my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash, like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing. I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes. That psychotic smile. That will never leave my head. Police are still on the lookout for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in the story, please contact your local police department. So Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you." "Well, I would just wanted to introduce myself and introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons, Jeff and Lou." They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family are done packing, Jeff went up to his mom. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now we're going to that party, and that's final." Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at the ceiling when suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there waiting for the bus, and then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. Both jumped back in surprise. Hey, what the hell? The kid landed and turned back on them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seems to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Well, 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 looks like we got some new meat. Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny and the other was huge. Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith. Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. And he's Troy. They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. And I, said the first kid, am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there's a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift. Lou stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else. Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. Oh, and what will you do? Just as he finished his sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped the knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. You could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. I think I see what's wrong. You see that too, don't you?
Ugh. It's hearing it a second time. You kind of go back and you hear it again, and you're going to hear more ridiculousness as the story goes on because it
Yeah,
goes from it's not even scary. It's just as one of my co-hosts put it, it's almost like a WWE match.
it is. It's supposed to be that. I'm like, oh God, what are they doing here? Uh, anyway, Jeff, how'd you? Was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. He even as he walked home due to the whole thing, near the bus stop and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore. He felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find two police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. "Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked three kids, that it wasn't regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son!" Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Lou." "Son," said one of the cops, "we found the three kids, two stabbed, one having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof that it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they were fleeing because, truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou. "Son, call down your brother." Jeff couldn't do it since it was he who beat up all the kids. "Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me." The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie." "Wait!" They all looked up to him holding a knife, to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Lou. "It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the mics to prove it." He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises as if he was in a struggle. "Son, put the knife down," said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. "No, Lou, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. "Huh, poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away." Police led Lou out to the patrol car. Just a comment there. I lost track who's saying what. Uh,
Yeah,
I
I had
think,
the same problem too because they don't tell you exactly who's talking at
yeah,
that
that's
point.
the problem. Like, come on, man. It's just a simple story. And, spacing works in writing. I think I think I have this point of view because I write too. Like, oh come on, man, it can't be that bad. Like, uh, so yeah, I lost track of who's saying what. It's kind of hard to shift voices anyway. "Lou, tell them it was me. Tell them I was the one who beat up those kids." Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. "Jeff, please, you don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. You can't stop." Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway. Seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what was it?" Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept in the driveway. About after an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by with no word from Lou at JDC, I suppose it's juvie. No friends to hang out with. Nothing but sadness and guilt. That is until Saturday, when Jeff is woken up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face. "Jeff, it's the day," she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into his room. What's today?" asked Jeff as he stirs awake. "Why, it's Billy's party." He was now fully awake. "Mom, you're joking, right?" You don't expect me to go some kid's party after Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now, get dressed. Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up. His mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? Son, is that all you're going to wear? Said Jeff's mom. Better than wearing too much, he said. Yes, see, you notice how I lost track of the voices, right?
Yes,
Oh,
you're not alone.
yeah, oh crap. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hit it with a smile. Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed. But this is how you go if you want to make an impression, said his father. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. I don't have any fancy clothes, he yelled downstairs. Just pick out something, called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. Oh my god, why am I getting my immortal vibes from this paragraph?
I don't know.
I don't know. It must be the way they describe their clothes, but anyway, it's not as overkill as the clothes described in My Immortal.
Oh no, it's not.
Yeah. Okay. You're wearing that? They both said. His mother looked at her watch. Oh no. Oh, no time to change. Let's just go. She said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and at it appeared Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. The kids are out in the yard, Jeff. How about you go and meet some of them? Said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. Hey, wanna play? He said. No, kid, I'm way too old for this stuff. Kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. Please, said the kid. Fine, said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend shoot at the kids. At first he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. He might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Lou. So he played with the kids for a while until he heard a noise, a weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred. Hello, Jeff, is it? He said. We have some unfinished business. Do, 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 do. I'm sorry. I remember. Do, do, yeah. Oh, what the frick. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. God, you realize the influence here. Jeff saw his bruised nose. I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you get my brother sent to JDC. Randy got an angry look in his eyes. Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Randy grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Randy pushed Randy off of him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets. No one interrupts or guts will fly, he said. Do normal people talk like that?
No.
No, as I suspected. Okay, Randy pulled out a knife on Jeff and stabbed it on his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After three kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he's kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC. And now you're gonna just sit there and let him rot in there for a whole year? You should be ashamed. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, you stand up to fight. Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, the one in which he hasn't felt for a while. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed, all rational thinking is gone, all he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him into the ground. Yeah, I see the point here. I think I see the. God, is this a wrestling match? Or.
It's
And
a
it's a
WWE hardcore match.
hardcore match, Fall Guns Anywhere match. Where's the referee? Yeah. Okay, he gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch, blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith, although they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he as he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. Oh, so this is an action movie gone wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, you have two guns. You're shooting at one guy and you miss. Jeff runs up in the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind as they let out their final rounds of bullets. Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack. Come on, man, not now. Bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Wait, my screen is frozen. Troy
Uh
goes
oh.
down hard, and now that's left is Keith. Uh, this is really starting to look like a street fight. Anyway,
Yes.
maybe because I've seen some Japanese wrestling in the past. And he is more agile than Troy, though. And ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck. He pushed him into a wall. A thing of bleach. You don't call that a thing of bleach. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them as they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best as he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. What's so funny? Asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. What's funny is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol. Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff. Now a man on fire, dropped to the ground, nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when He passed out. When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arm, and when he tried to get up, it fell out and the nurse rushed in. I don't think you can get out of bed just yet, she said as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. That's not how it works. I've been in the hospital.
Again, science goes out the window when it comes to horror movies
Yeah,
or
because
horror stories.
or fan fiction.
Yes.
Yeah, that too. Anyway, Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. Honey, are you okay? She asked. Jeff couldn't answer though. His face was covered, and he wasn't able to speak. Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let you go. This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. He'd be out by tomorrow, and then you two would be able to be together again. Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. And then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family members were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. Let's hope for the best, said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. What? What? What happened to my face? Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face. It's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned to pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. Jeff, said Lou, it's not that bad. Not that bad, said Jeff. It's perfect. His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff, are you okay? Okay? I've never felt more happy. Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me. He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that Jeff was fighting Randy something in his mind. His sanity snapped. Now he was slapped as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know. Doctor, said Jeff's mom, is my son all right? In the head? Oh, yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If this behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here and we'll give him a psychological test. What kind of painkiller did they give him? Oxycontin?
I was gonna say, like, keep him in the hospital until you find out he's psychologically okay. Like, don't
Yeah,
just put him out in the world unless they can't afford it.
yeah, that's the problem. Oh,
But
thank you, doctor. Yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but they're rich, so they should be able to afford psychiatric treatment. They have plenty of insurance.
That's supposed to be the case. But, well, yeah, some people with money don't know what to do with it anyway. Mm. Uh, So, Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror, his face still formed into a crazy smile. Okay, mommy! Ha ha ha! Ha, ha, ha. His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. This is what came in, said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and now stitched together. Jeff's mother led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that this was their final day of life. Side note here, to, if something is about to happen in the story, don't spoil it.
Yeah, that's like a big giveaway. It's like, okay, well now we know the story ends. Well, I guess we
Yeah,
don't need to read anymore.
yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. Jeff, what are you doing? Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. I can't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever. Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black. Jeff, your eyes. His eyes were seemingly never closing. I couldn't see my face. I got tired, and my eyes started to close. I burned out the eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face. Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful? Yes, son, she said. Yes, you are. "Well, let me go to get Daddy so he can see your face." She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. Honey, honey, get the gun. She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife. Mommy, you lied. That's the last thing they hear. Say Jeff rushes down with the knife. Oh, I'm getting both of them. His brother Lou woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised a knife, ready to plunge it into Lou. Lou thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. Shh, just go to sleep.
It's like, dude, just go to sleep, bro.
Yeah, just go to sleep. Like, oh god, why does this video look like Ozzy Osbourne?
Black Sabbath would sing a song about Jeff the Killer.
They haven't. I mean, I mean, any of the songs that they have at the moment can be used. Okay, so yeah, it's like I. This is what happens when some fan factions don't have an editor, or at least not edited by human being. Oh my god. Do you expect some people to dress up as Jeff on Halloween? I mean, it's already Halloween here.
No.
No. Oh, okay.
If they
Yeah.
do, I'd be like, why?
Why? You don't find it impressive?
Well, because I mean, not that it's not impressive, but there's just not going to be that many people doing costumes this year. And even
Yeah,
then,
because
even if they did, they're just not going to go be that detailed with it. If anything, the costume would be like, "Sir" or "Madam," like, please just leave the area, please.
yeah. Well, you're basically wearing a plain, unedited version, or more like a polished version of Saw or Jigsaw. Sorry. Mm, on the other hand, well, if the outfit would remind you a little of that guy from Death Note, I mean the actual manga, because the eyeliner and then the lips, and then just chop off the nose, and then you have L of Death Note. It's nice. It's actually nice to
I
see
guess.
that. On the other hand, if everyone is wearing masks, then Halloween came in early.
Well, I mean, it's morning now, and we're not getting any trick or treaters, so I'm not
Yeah,
going to be seeing any masks anywhere.
yeah, because it's already Halloween, and soon enough there's Thanksgiving, or well, at least in the U.S. We have our own. I don't know if we have an equivalent to Thanksgiving or something to that effect. We just like to eat. We just like banquets, and because of this pandemic, we can't have too much of that anymore. We can't have good things because of this pandemic. If you noticed.
Yeah, we're not really having a Thanksgiving either. We're just going to make lasagna for dinner, and that's really it. That's all we're doing.
Mm,
My brother's not coming down. My sister's going to stay where she is. We're we were even thinking about on the show, just like on Thanksgiving night, just be like, hey, we're just gonna make like some type of like a drinking game out of it or some kind.
yeah, and yeah, hopefully, if the rest of your co-hosts would watch this clip of me reading and Jeff, they would. I hope they're not too harsh with the criticism on the voices. I sound like who's that again? Easy, no.
We're gonna say your Jeff was almost like Southern Texas.
Yeah, it is.
So that would have it was like, well, we're living here in this gated neighborhood. I don't want to be here.
Yeah, my accent is so confused. I was I end up speaking English. I just wanted my audience to understand what I'm saying because sometimes the accent still comes out, the neutral accent, as they say. And then yeah, because just a little side note. I once worked in a call center, and the accent that they would often recommend to us would be Mid Atlantic. It's like, and then I asked, what's Mid Atlantic? Like Chicago
Mm.
or Michigan or Detroit, yeah, that kind of accent. So if ever I ended up learning some of the southern accents, I think I've been watching too much Forrest Gump.
And then again, Mid Atlantic is more. Then again, Mid Atlantic is more of the Northeast of America, so you're getting like a type of sophisticated like English, but it's not really British. But you're still getting like that richness in the voice.
Yeah, because they should have said, well, I guess it just depends on the call center. They should have just said, yeah, just sound neutral and just make sure that the person understands you. Like, okay, like, I think it worked.
I can't imagine what that's like though. Because
Mm,
I bet you it'd be like the reverse. If I was to try to learn like Filipino,
mm,
then I probably just sound, I pro when I would speak it, people would probably just go, what is that guy saying? I can't understand him."
yeah, there's some agents anyway that end up retaining their accents even they're speaking in English. At least the accent is not that thick. I can only speak for myself and some of my fellow former call center employees. Um, but I don't know about you, but there was this one call center I got into that I will not name, and that they on it's a different training program, of course, so different that they recommended us watching The Princess Diaries because it has the most neutralized accent. It's like what? I had to ask you to confirm if they had neutral accents there.
The Princess Diaries.
The one with Anne Hathaway.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize for them. I apologize for them having to make you watch that
Why?
because I don't think that's the best movie to listen to for like normal accents. That's more royalty. They wanted to make you sound like royalty more than anything.
I get it. I kind of get it. They want this to sound sophisticated.
Yes.
Okay. What would you recommend rather if, for example, you were training some of us?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't. I if it was me, I would not be telling people to change their voices at all. That's like because I like you, Jing, and
Thank you very much.
the last thing I'm thinking of is your accent. I'm just listening to what you're saying, and
Mm,
if somebody can't understand because of the accent, that's the fault on the person not understanding it, not the fact that we have to cater to like a specific group of people. Like, oh, you have to speak like this because that's the way they understand it. No, that's in a way that's on the level of akin to a racist type of way of thinking. It's like, oh, well, your voice is not good enough, so therefore I'm going to make sure that your voice is perfect for people that we're trying to cater to, which is not good.
yeah, I remember one call center rejecting my job application because I don't get the accent enough. I think it scarred me. I think that pushed me to really approach learning English in a phonetic way because, reading text isn't always enough. I had to hear them talk, which is why I ended up watching a lot of Hollywood films, which sometimes British. But of course, whenever I watch some British movies, I need subtitles for them sometimes. And at least I ended up learning that. Um, so it to each his own. It's like you want to learn English, you have to listen to this certain person or to that person, and then try to emulate the way they talk. I know someone. I know someone who is a big fan of Alaska Thunder F. You know that winner from RuPaul's Drag Race, and that call center agent ended up sounding like Alaska.
Sounded like Alaska.
Are you familiar with Alaska Thunderfire?
Mm,
No, you're not familiar
no.
with any of the winners. Okay. Yeah, most of the contestants have these racy names that, yeah, maybe for the niche that it carved. Yeah, a lot of openly gay people here watch RuPaul's Drag Race. They watch it so much they ended up some of them ended up sounding like some of the contestants, which I don't have a problem with.
Hmm.
Although, maybe it just depends on what you're watching or trying to what you're trying to emulate. It's like, and
Hmm.
then what really inspired some of us to eventually be confident with the way we talk is they told us about the story of House, and we were told that the actor playing House, I don't remember his name, he's British, but every time he had to shoot scenes for House, he had to turn off his British accent. Like,
Yep.
mm, like that's a serious level of acting. If you have to turn off your accent in order to attain into a role, and knowing how Oscars would always put preference on accents over acting ability, like, yeah, okay, fine. Let's see how they do this.
Yeah, people don't even realize that Christian Bale is British because for the longest time, all of his movies, he sounded American and he played
Oh,
Americans.
who's that Scottish guy again from 300?
Oh,
People keep forgetting he's Scottish.
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler, yes. People keep forgetting he's Scottish.
Yeah. And
And
yeah,
then,
he's in a lot of American movies too, playing Americans.
mm, and he succeeded in that. It's like it's becoming a joke. Oh, the British are coming. The British are coming. Like, yeah, they're coming
They're
to.
taking all our acting jobs.
Yeah, look at Superman. He's British. Look at Batman. He's Welsh. Is Andrew Garfield Welsh? I mean English.
I do not know. Because
At least,
when I saw him accepting the Oscar, I heard him speak in American,
oh, okay, yeah,
and
because
we need to find this out because he'll be in the third Spider-Man movie. He's British, but when I saw him on stage, he was speaking. But he was born in Los Angeles, but his parents were from Essex.
Essex. Okay, at least we can confirm that Tom Holland is British.
Yes, Tom Holland definitely is, and yet he
Mhm.
plays Americans also.
Yeah, because I don't know if you have noticed this, but I know a DJ here that I think she has a little background in phonetics, and then she noticed that the British actors always have to space each syllable that they say just so they can capture the American accent, like the one in House. It's like the pronunciation is so crisp. The pronunciation ended up becoming so crisp just to capture that accent. Like, yeah, maybe. The only British guy I know that failed at doing an American accent is Tom Hardy.
I mean, he gets away with it though, because he plays Venom. So
Oh,
I mean, he does a pretty good he does a pretty good San Francisco accent. So I
oh,
mean, because that's where Venom takes place. It's in San Francisco, so he does a pretty good San Francisco accent there. So I mean, I would say that directors have done a good job like making him play characters that don't have that many speaking roles like Bane. They're able to hide his face. But with Mad Max, I mean, it's perfect for Mad Max because it's an Australian based product. So
yeah.
he can get away with like pulling that off a little bit.
It's actually nice.
Yeah, and there was the like, one comedy thing he did where he played twins. He was like a spy of some kind, but yeah, he spoke in his regular British accent.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing there that these Brits, oh my god, the Brits have come over for the jobs. But anyway, which is why sometimes it's nice to see that whenever you study language and focus on the phonetics, that yeah, you notice some of these minor twangs that are going on. But I saw the trailer for Venom and it's like, okay, maybe I'd try seeing it one day. Even if I don't have much faith in him being Venom, he will always be Bane to me. Tom Hardy is one of my fave actors. I fell in love with him with Bronson. And have you seen that?
I've heard of Bronson. I
Yeah,
never saw it though.
yeah. It's a great movie. A lot of folks are saying that that should have been his first Oscar-nominated film. I'm like, maybe he will be nominated for an Oscar by the time he's in his 60s or 70s.
They're trying to get him to play James Bond.
Which is okay since he's British.
Yeah, but everyone wants Idris Elba to play him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read that too. Like, mm, who are you trying to get into play James Bond? Really? Idris
Oh,
Elba, Henry Cavill.
yeah,
uh, even Henry Cavill got into the list. Like,
low
oh god.
key.
Yeah, I've read about Loki as well, but um, I think some people said that after his performance in Coriolanus, the Shakespearean play, it's like he's too Shakespearean. Like, what? What?
Well,
What?
I mean, yeah, they're. I mean, I have theater friends, and they said, yeah, he's way better in Shakespeare than he is like when he's trying to do comic book movies.
Okay, so at least he has a niche because uh, I don't know. We were once. I was once told by some nerds or some nerdy friends that if you do Shakespeare, it's one of the toughest plays to do.
Yes, because you have to speak in that Victorian language, and it's not easy to learn. I mean, you want to talk about how English is tough to learn? Victorian English is extremely tough.
Mm.
And it's one, and plus you also have to sing in Victorian English, and that's not easy either.
Yeah, that's why I remember when I was still a part-time college instructor, I was assigned literature. It's like, okay, what else will I be teaching them in literature? But I just pick any Shakespearean play and then I maybe try to make my students watch it. It has subtitles to make sure that they keep track of what's being said. It's like they were telling me, oh, this is too hard.
Yeah,
And some of them were, and they're not native English speakers. What I mean, you're a native English speaker. You're already having trouble with it. What more for my students? It's not their mother tongue. It's like, oh God, no. They're like, I had to translate some. I had to simplify some of the lines for them. Like, they immediately got it, and okay, like there's some Shakespearean plays that I still watched on YouTube before they were taken down. I would have loved to watch the Patrick Stewart version of Macbeth or Hamlet. Oh
oh,
wait,
oh,
Hamlet is
oh,
different.
but I mean, Hamlet, yes, he's best known for doing Hamlet, but he also did Othello, where they did like a race reverse because Othello in the original story is black, but in
Mm.
this version, all the other characters are black and he's the only white actor
Ah,
on stage.
okay.
So, yeah, so I mean, that was a really good one, though.
Yeah, it's like I think no other, no other nationality can do the Shakespearean plays better than those. Plus, they have this eerie element in the story. Uh, they almost had the same ending anyway. Well, the tragedies at least they have the same endings. They all look great. In particular, like um, Macbeth,
Yeah,
maybe because it's
Macbeth's one of my
bloody.
favorites.
Yeah, and I even watched the opera version of Macbeth, even if, and then just check if the subtitles are consistent with the lines in the English version. Like, yeah, it's a story of thunder. It's a story of an idiot. It's a tale told by an idiot, told with thunder and lightning. I don't. Oh God, my memorization is. I like that line particularly because that's how some stories go today, anyway. But yeah, that's why this is fan fiction. It's like, yeah, tales told by an idiot with thunder and lightning, signifying nothing.
I can't like put those two things together. Shakespeare fan fiction. That would be something that if I told my friends that, they'd be like, "What? No freaking way."
Yeah, yeah, because if most of Shakespeare's stories end up in murder, yeah, it's only a matter of time before some of these fanfic writers would try to do it for
Although
them.
although there is a graphic novel that is basically the Avengers of all the Shakespeare characters, and the first story is an all-out war between everybody. And all the characters from their original stories do not die. They actually are like in an alternate universe where they decide to run away instead of killing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up becoming like generals in a giant war, and they have to attack all these kingdoms in order to
Uh,
survive.
so who is the main villain then? If it's
Richard the Third is the first villain, and then the ruler of the island in the Tempest is the second villain, and then I believe King Tight. Oh God, I can't remember the guy's. I can't
King
remember the king's
Lear,
name. Well, no, King Lear is one that's going to be further down the line, but there's
mm-hmm.
another king called King Tighto Rankinus or something like that. But
Titus?
King Titus something, but King
Yeah.
Titus is like the big mafia king that's trying to
Mm.
kill the rebels.
Okay.
So he sends like his team of pirates to try to kill them, but the pirates end up turning against him.
Oh, okay. And then who's the main? Who's the hero of the story?
Juliet.
What? I no, I expected to be Macduff.
Well, Hamlet's the male is the man lead, and Juliet is the woman general of the rebels. Macbeth dies pretty quickly because her husband kills him. Lady Macbeth is also another major villain. Like she has her own let's just say she has her own motivations and she doesn't really coincide with all the other villains. So
Mm.
she's kind of a rebel in that way. She's just trying to gain power, so she uses other people to her advantage. And then she just goes back and forth. Romeo turns into a villain eventually.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, yes, because when he found out Juliet was alive, Juliet's like, "Yeah, we should not be together anymore." And then he just goes and gets drunk and sleeps with prostitutes.
Oh.
because because he also was a religious man, because Shakespeare
Mm-hmm.
in this graphic novel is considered a godlike figure because
Mm-hmm.
he can create everything with his quill pen. But when they found out that Shakespeare was just a regular man that drinks a lot, he's like, I've been wasting my entire life like believing that this man was a god. So then he becomes really depressed. And he lost the woman he loved. So it's like all these things combined and he ends up turning evil.
Mm. Wow, he embraced the dark side.
Yes.
Mm.
He's Anakin in a sense.
Yeah, they turned him into Anakin.
And Lady
Uh,
Macbeth sort of takes him under his wing, like you're gonna be my like she's more like Palpatine and he's more Vader. So that's the relationship now.
I'm suddenly reminded that Anakin is sounds like one of the local words here. Like it sounds like get a child. Well, it's the word is anak, and then there's anakin, then anakan, anak, and anak means child. So it becomes awkward when he grows up to be a man. They still call him anakin. Like, no. Some names, yeah, you then realize how some names are actual words in a foreign language, and then when that word is translated, the translation uh, makes the story awkward sometimes.
Yeah. It's especially when it's like certain words you're like, that's the name of this, considering the definition of what it's supposed to be in the regular dictionary.
Mm-hmm. Which is why some English-speaking folks appreciate the Neil Gaiman books. I only appreciated Neil Gaiman when I watched one of his novels become a movie, Stardust, because yeah, what's the name of the town? Wall. What's the name of the villain? The Three Witches. It's like this is the name because this is what they look like. The town is named Wall because it's surrounded by a wall. Like, it's like nothing complicated, just a straight up story. Although I read the book, I did not finish the book because I fell asleep. Sorry, no offense to fans of Neil Gaiman. Maybe that kind of prose is a little too English for me.
No one. I don't think anyone should blame anybody for falling asleep reading, especially considering like there's not enough hours in the day to completely watch or completely read an entire book.
Yeah, it just depends on the book that you're reading, perhaps. And it's odd because on my end, I end up reading a lot of books since the bar exams got moved next year, and I have more time to read. So yeah,
Oh,
I have to
great!
keep track of. Yeah, it's actually great. I have to keep track of the books that I can read, notes I have to read, online classes. As long as the internet's stable, as long as the electricity is stable, then I'm good to go. I'm just looking forward to some of the Oh wait, it's Halloween, and most of the movies ended up on Netflix.
Yeah,
Like, mm,
and they're on
yeah, because
Amazon.
mm, because I there are some horror movies that I recommend because they're effective at providing jump scares, especially um, when it's based from urban legends. It's like it's based on a story that people are already scared about. So what more if you turn it into a movie? So I have some favorites here. Maybe if you would use a VPN on your Netflix account, if you still have it, maybe you can see some of them. If, and then you shift the area to the Philippines, since they've already put subtitles on them. Even if even if we understand the language for the most part, although the lists are not so updated, Netflix would rather have the new ones than the old ones. On the other hand, the new ones that they have, it focused more on gore. It's
Oh,
like I'm not always impressed with gore because what else is there to be scared about? You're not scared. You're disgusting me.
yeah. I don't know who, because you can get excited with a horror movie, but then there's ones where you're just thinking, oh, I just don't feel comfortable now.
Yeah, it's like maybe I've been watching too many horror movies in the past. I've learned to distinguish them. Horror movies from Korea, they have the least appearances of the ghost because the logic is easy to understand. You have not seen the ghost yet and you're already scared. You're already paranoid. So even if you're not seeing the ghost, you're already scared. You're already crapping your pants. That's for most Korean movies that I've watched, or K horror, they would say. And then movies made from Japan, there's an element of technology as seen on The Ring because it involved a VHS tape and a flip phone on the case of One Missed Call. But sometimes it tends to delve into sci-fi territory, especially on one very relevant horror movie. The title is Infection. The title is Infection. Um, and then they're all stuck in a hospital. It's like it's basically a zombie movie, and then they don't know how to heal themselves. They end up killing themselves because that's the misconception that one dies and then the virus dies with them. No, it's not how it goes. Um, God, I remember the movie wrong, but see, I don't remember much of the movie. I just remember the gore and the green blood and the green spit, the green pukes, and everything that mm, might sound a little prophetic if it wasn't so gory. Some Japanese films would like to push the limits. And then, of course, the goriest that I've seen so far, goriest horror movies I've seen so far are from Thailand. The Art of the Devil series, part 1, 2, and 3. Uh, Basically revolving around witchcraft, and it's also based on gore. It's gory because it's about stealing another witch's powers, and the only way I can't spoil the whole movie. And okay, I can spoil the whole movie. I'll just mention some of the things that I remember that are safe to. This witch wanted to be powerful. In order to be powerful, he had to kill the witch that is more powerful than him. So there's witch, there's a warlock, and there are witches that are used for healing people, and there are witches that are used for exorcism. Like, oh God, here we go. So it became gory because of the murder and the disfigurement and the cannibalism that went on. It's like, what the hell am I watching here? Like, are you trying to scare me or trying to disgust me? That kind of thing.
I get so tired of these recreations of these stories because they're just they all feel the same. And even when they all feel the same, I don't know that many people that would spend money just watching it because of that, or just watching it on Netflix. Like some of it is just too. It's just too boring. The horror movies have just gotten way too boring, and I don't like a lot of them, unless of course they're doing it in a comedic way. Like that's where I feel like horror movies should go. Like it needs to be more campy, and they need to like actually make fun of it. Like
Yeah,
Get Out made fun of jump scare movies, and they also
yeah.
got
So
rid of
I
the
was.
stereotype of black people dying first in horror movies.
uh,
Like they were the ones that like they actually survived and they killed all the white people. So it's like, yeah.
So there's no final girl.
Like I know the family in Get Out was the main villains. I mean,
Mhm.
they were just trying to take like black people's body parts and insert them into their own because they were like racist and jealous. So that's like, oh,
Mhm.
for screw these guys. I'm just gonna try to get out of here.
Yeah, yeah. Which is why some people ended up liking that movie. I don't know why I haven't found it on Netflix yet. I need to search more. And I
You
might end up searching into more uncharted territories just to see some of
should
these
watch
other.
Us. You should watch Us. Us is
Is that
also a good movie.
that's also by Jordan Peele, right?
Yes. Now
Yeah, looks like
that's a guy that knows his horror movies.
yeah, good for him. What happened to the Candyman remake? Is he still on the project?
I think he's still trying to do that. I know that there's a rumor that he's also trying to bring back the Disney's version of Gargoyles. Um, I think he's still trying to do Candyman, but you know, with this pandemic, they had to stop all their plans.
Yeah, they ended up stopping a lot of plans. It's like,
All right, let me see. He's going to be doing a series called Wendell and Wild. It's a stop motion
mm,
picture with his former it was his former partner Keegan Michael Key from Key and Peele.
mm-hmm.
So they're going to be doing like a horror comedy animated movie.
Oh, that's tough to do horror comedy because if the horror fails, at least try to make up with comedy.
Yeah, and it's going to be animated, so it makes it even better. So they're in talks of still doing Candyman. They did an interview like 2 years ago, and there's like, yeah, I'd rather have him do it than anybody else.
Mm,
And it was confirmed that he's going to be producing the movie, but they got Nia DaCosta to direct it. So
okay.
it's not going to be. So he's going to have more control over it, but it's not going to be done by him.
Mm,
Let's see. He's okay. So he's going to be in another movie called Eruptio, but he's only just going to be an actor in that, and that's like a puppet animated horror movie.
puppet puppet animated horror movie. Oh,
Hmm.
they're really experimenting on the horror genre, are they?
Well, he loves horror movies, but if you're going to do it, like, okay, let's do it with puppets now.
Mm, yeah, because it reminded me of this independent movie. I think I watched it on one of those ragtag Facebook groups that entitled Judy and Punch.
Oh,
It's like a
Punch
fictional
and Judy.
Punch and Judy. I am familiar with the Punch and Judy story, but uh, you can tell where the since it's a fictionalized account of the origin of Punch and Judy, they turned the title into Judy and Punch. Like it's one of those movies that are well comedy and horror worked well. Maybe because the horror part was that it's how the actors sell the horror part. It's like someone's just trying to rustle the curtains or rustle the leaves or make some strange noises by the window. It's like, and the guy by the bedside is like, ah, I'm so scared and that. It's like a revenge movie with some horror elements. It did not go that gore. No need to go that gore, but it tried to play on the what if Judy was actually the heroine and not the villain, as some Punch and Judy puppet shows portrayed. Like, that's how they tried to make it out. I think it was an independent movie, produced, co-produced by BBC and a company in Canada. It's like they like recreating the Victorian era, or using the Victorian era for their horror movies, or at least gothic themed movies. Some of them don't want to call it horror anyway, since if the movie is not that scary, if it did not creep out the audience, like it's like they failed in tagging the genre as horror.
Yeah, they did the same thing with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, where it was more they added the horror element to it, but it wasn't scary. It's just like, oh hey, these Victorian people are now having to kill zombies. So
Mm,
they just took Pride and Prejudice and Dawn of the Dead and they just combined them together.
yeah, yeah. Which is why when Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter came out, then they were like, the people here were suggesting, "Wait, what do we do? What if we turn our folk heroes into vampire hunters too?" And like, we don't have vampires in the Philippines. We're too poor to be vampires. It's the white men who are the vampires. Like, what the freak? Like, yeah, that's how some stories are here. There's some supernatural series or supernatural movies here that portrayed the battles between the werewolves and the vampires, and it's the vampires who are the Spaniards, and it's the werewolves who are the locals. Like, what the hell are they doing here? Like, I don't like the direction of that story either. But hey, it got high ratings in the series. Like, sometimes you just have a creepy concept, try to turn it into a series or a movie if you don't have much of a budget for a TV series, and then see if it gains ratings. I mean, the last horror series that got aired here and was successful was entitled Killer Bride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was. Some say it was based on the TV series that was from that Venezuelan TV series with the English title Wife of Judas, because she would always come out in her wedding gown, in her blood splattered wedding gown, and start killing people. Yeah, that's why I think the local version tried to get a license on Wife of Judas, but since they did not get it, and they just pushed through with the inspiration and then went on with that series. It's they tried to go gothic, Latin American. Not surprising with the Latin American inspiration there, since I think we're the only country. I think one of the few countries with Asian last names and Latin American first names. I mean, my full name sounds a little Latin American.
Do you have a little bit of Latin in you or no?
No, not at all.
Because I know what was it? Because I know that the Philippines and then Brazil they went under the Jakarta method, which was done by America. But I know
Um,
that there was some Filipinos that moved to South America, and
mhm,
they started mating with the locals over there, and
mhm.
and then they went back to the Philippines, and then some stayed in Brazil, and then it just became it just it that's where I think this is where that's what you're talking about, because that's
Yeah,
kind of like what was happening when the America was trying to calm down these communist movements that were happening in both of those countries, and
yeah,
so they did that, and then of course commingling, and then boom. So maybe
mm.
that's what you're going at.
Yeah. Because if you live in a country that was invaded by the Spaniards for 333 years, yeah, they imposed their last names on us eventually. Although my last name is sounds native, which is fine, which is why I still get some questions about if ever I know this person or I know the Dalagans of the southern Philippines. I was told that it was a common last name in other parts of the Philippines, but not from where I am. It's okay. So next thing you realize, there are a lot of Filipinos that have last name De La Cruz or De Castro or something that sounds Spanish or remotely Spanish. And then since if you mix history and gothic stories, yeah, you end up coming up with good horror stories in in the mix. Like I lost the word that I was trying to say here. Anyway, I don't think horror is not that much of a genre here. I checked some once in a while whenever I get out. I check out the bookstores if about some of the offerings that they have since the era of Hunger Games and Harry Potter is over. So I just check the trends, and then a lot of Wattpad stories are now available as books, and they're mostly about love stories, sappy teeny bopper fare, and not much about horror. If there's horror, it still comes out as a love story because yeah, they lived in the Spanish era and then they died and then they got reincarnated in the modern era. And like I'm starting to think of it as a trope in itself. Um, Not everyone can do it right, sadly.
Yeah, no.
Mm. The best horror movies that I can recommend here that hopefully Netflix will bring. There's this movie. I think they tried to release it abroad in the niche festival circuit. I'm not so sure if it's in the niche festival circuit. It's entitled "Kill Barbara to Death." The story is Barbara. Ironically, name of the mother in story is Barbara, but yeah, there's a horror movie that became famous and got remade twice, first into another movie and then second to a TV series. The story of Barbara. Barbara has a boyfriend, and then Barbara's sister Ruth liked the guy as well. And Barbara brushed it off. Ah, that's Ruth for you. R-U-T-H, that's the name. That's Ruth for you. She likes something now, tomorrow she's sick of it. That didn't happen. Um, Ruth liked the boyfriend so much, she did not know that the the guy was actually his sister, her sister's boyfriend. They did not tell her because she's a spoiled kid. She's the kind of girl that gets everything, gets her way for the most part. So, and they just underestimated how much she liked the guy. And she liked the guy so much she got pregnant. And so, of course, the guy is
Mm.
forced to marry her. And then Ruth got paranoid. She already had a kid. She's already married. She's the one married, but she's still paranoid. She got paranoid, and then um, she committed suicide in the story. By the time that she's dead, that's when they discovered that she's already immersed in the occult, meaning that you know how some occults teach that once you're dead, you get more powerful because your soul has no body, hence you have no restrictions. That's
Yes.
when the horror starts. It's like it's one of those original horror movies. I was told it was released in the 60s. And of course, in the 60s, the technology is not yet that sophisticated, but it succeeded in scaring off its audiences. And then the remake succeeded in scaring off its audiences because the horror is based more on the paranoia and less on what CGI is available at that time, which is not much. They just showed some demons or a single demon, then that's it. Then they're back to the pentagram and the mirror and the gothic images of Christ on the cross. You know that this will not end well, but it's the only way to end. So it's still one of the scariest movies I've seen. It's become an exclusive to one of the local channels here. Not sure if any not sure if any Hollywood movie would plan to remake it, but it's closest equivalent that I could think of in terms of the hell themed horror movie. It's Drag Me to Hell.
Oh yes, that
Sam
one I
Raimi,
remember.
yes, because Sam Raimi has never lost his touch in horror. He's still scary.
Oh, Sam Raimi, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam Raimi did Evil Dead, and then he did the Spider-Man trilogy. 'Cause that one confused me because I was like, I can't believe that this guy's going to be doing Spider-Man, and he did a good job with it. But I will say
Yeah.
the the witch in that Drag Me to Hell is actually based off a very popular Italian witch called Lamia.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a very big it was a very big story in Italian novels and short
Mm-hmm.
stories in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of dragged over, and people kind of used it as their last name, kind of ironically. So
Yeah. I still remember that. But yeah, sometimes, which is why I remember a teacher that I had saying that whenever a student is claiming that he saw monsters, like, are you sure it's a monster that you saw and not your grandmother without her dentures? I can't blame them for thinking that way. Some old people look scarier without the teeth.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've always tried to say, like, how is it that you could devour people with no teeth? Like, unless you're like Kirby and you could just suck everything in, like,
I suddenly remembered the Kirby fan art on Reddit. It's like, what's the name of the son of that guy on King of the Hill? They put his
oh,
name on
Bobby.
the Bobby. They put Bobby's face on Kirby, and now they call him Barbie or Borby.
Oh my
What the-
god.
That's so wrong. It looks so wrong, but it look creepy too. At least they succeed in something in creating something so creepy, you know.
What you doing, Bobby? Dad. Well, it's too funny for me to take seriously. That's the thing.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the creepy things that are end up becoming funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I gotta get going because it's getting right about the time where I have to start doing some of my errands over here.
Oh, okay, that'd be fine. Thank you for accompanying me on this Halloween episode.
Yeah,
I
no,
had
this
a
has been
feeling.
fun as hell.
Oh yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it that I help you have fun. So I'll be ending the live stream now. Thank you everyone for coming over. Thank you everyone for um, dropping by. I'll be seeing you on the next live stream. Good night, everyone.
Bye.